mabuo. Hands up! Sabay-sabay. Future teachers! This is our day. Learn, lead, serve with pride. UMak-CITE. We stand side by side. CITE, where innovation meets excellence. We lead, we learn, we rise with confidence. I learn ang gabay.
Good morning to all participants from different parts of the Philippines and across the globe. Joining us here on Zoom and those who are watching via Facebook and YouTube Live. Welcome to Day 2 of the 2026 University of Makati College of Innovative Teacher Education International Summit on Education, conducted through our virtual conference platform. This summit is one of the most meaningful highlights of our 40th founding anniversary, our Ruby anniversary, celebrating the enduring legacy and excellence of the College of Innovative Teacher Education. Our sincere appreciation to the University of Makati College of Innovative Teacher Education for organizing this meaningful event and for making this international summit possible, particularly in securing its accreditation of 6 CPD units. Please be reminded that this is a 2-day international summit. As Day 1 was held yesterday, participants are expected to accomplish the evaluation for both days, one administered at the end of Day 1 and another to be given later today for Day 2. Kindly note that only those who were able to submit both evaluations will be eligible to receive their certificates. As this is a 6 CPD accredited conference, compliance with all requirements is essential to ensure proper crediting. On behalf of the organizing committee, we sincerely thank you for continuing this journey of learning and collaboration as we gather educators, researchers, and academic leaders under the theme, The Global Learning Renaissance, Harmonizing Technology, Equity, and Human-Centeredness. The Global Learning Renaissance is an international call to action for educators, researchers, and policymakers to move beyond incremental change. This conference examines how to bridge the gap between rapid digital advancements and the fundamental need for equity and well-being. We seek to answer a pivotal question. How do we design educational ecosystems that leverage machine intelligence while prioritizing the human spirit? Our main goal is to dismantle the one-size-fits-all model of the past. By integrating universal design for learning, fostering learner autonomy, and rethinking assessment through the lens of holistic flourishing, we can create a future where every student is seen, supported, and empowered. Join us as we gather the world's leading minds to synchronize innovation with empathy and redefine what it means to be an educated citizen in the 21st century. Before we begin, may we kindly remind everyone of our online conference guidelines. Please keep your microphones muted throughout the program. Participants are encouraged to turn on their cameras during sessions whenever possible. Please use the required name format when joining Zoom. Surname _ first name _ country. For example, Rudas _ Mark Lester _ Philippines. This will help us properly monitor and manage participants during the event. The registration link for attendance and evaluation will be posted during the summit. Be sure to accomplish both the attendance and evaluation forms for both days. Participants with incomplete submission of the attendance and evaluation forms for any day will not be issued a certificate and will not be credited with CPD points. Certificate of participation will be issued to registered participants who comply with the attendance and evaluation requirements for both days. It will be sent to your email after a careful review by the certification committee. Again, don't forget to register your attendance. We are truly privileged to have speakers and experts from across the globe who have wholeheartedly committed to sharing their time and expertise with us. This summit is one of the key internationalization programs of the College of Innovative Teacher Education, aimed at strengthening global partnerships and expanding learning opportunities for our students and faculty. Our college leader established many of these connections during the EduTech Asia conferences in Singapore, while others were formed through collaborations with the Teacher Education Council projects and through the American English Alumni Association. Through these partnerships, the college continues to open doors for meaningful global exchange and professional growth. So, get ready and stay engaged as we prepare to be inspired, enriched, and empowered by our esteemed speakers who will surely hone our knowledge and deepen our understanding throughout this international summit. To formally begin our program, may I request everyone to settle down and observe proper decorum for the singing of the Philippine National Anthem. After the anthem, please remain in position as we proceed with the opening prayer. We will then continue with the singing of the University of Makati hymn. Thank you.
Bayang magiliw, pelas ang silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupit, di ka pasisingin, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong baghaw, may dilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang tislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning, ang bituin at araw na kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw na buwan, hadit pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya ng may mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Heavenly Father, Creator of all, we humbly ask your divine presence to be with us today as we begin our activity. Send forth your Holy Spirit to teach us that in everything we do today is for your greater glory. May we use our giftedness to unite us in one goal, and that is to strive hard to reach the goal of success. May you provide us of divine wisdom to respect and understand one another, that all of us here are brothers and sisters. Grant us a profound humility through the example of your only begotten Son, Jesus Christ our Lord. Send forth your holy angels to protect and deliver us from any harm. Father in heaven, all glory and honor are yours, forever and ever. Amen.
To the alma mater, University of Makati. Rejoice, we're here onward marching, be it shine, storm, cloud, or rain. Let all our voices keep ringing for the glory of our alma mater, pride of Makati and our fatherland. Beloved UMak proudly stands. Arise, thy sons and daughters, fill the air with the joy of alma mater. Resound our gladness and tidings, every echo by far and near. Yes, we are here, beloved UMak.
raise our mind and spirit. We're proud to be a guide from men, future builders of this land. Arise, thy sons and daughters, fill the air with the joy of alma mater. Resound our gladness and tidings, every echo by far and near. Hail to thee, our dear beloved UMak. Faithfully we raise our mind and spirit. We're proud to be a guide from men, future builders of this land. University of Makati, future builder of this land.
Good morning, everyone. I am Mark Lester-Rudas.
The College of Innovative Teacher Education at the University of Makati is an exemplary institution at the forefront of progressive teacher education in the Philippines. Rooted in a tradition of excellence and driven by innovation, CITE is committed to developing competent, ethical, and resilient educators and academic leaders who are equipped to meet the evolving demands of 21st century learning environments. As a vertically articulated college offering undergraduate programs, CITE ensures a seamless progression of knowledge and practice, empowering future teachers, school administrators, and education specialists through a curriculum grounded in research, real-world application, and technological integration. Its academic programs emphasize the practical application of educational theories, with strong foundations in inclusive education, student-centered teaching, and school leadership, continuously adapting to the needs of diverse learners and dynamic classrooms. CITE proudly offers degrees in Bachelor of Elementary Education, as well as Bachelor of Secondary Education, with majors in English, mathematics, and social studies, with plans and ideas of offering new degrees in the future, such as Bachelor of Early Childhood Education, Bachelor of Special Needs Education, Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Science, and Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Values Education. CITE students are given immersive, hands-on learning experiences, not just through practicum and fieldwork, but also by allowing them to participate in student-led organizations. These groups create opportunities for professional growth, school life balance, and community involvement, thereby shaping them to be well-rounded future educators. The college is also proud to house the Higher School of UMak, its very own senior high school, which also functions as a laboratory school for future teachers under the College of Innovative Teacher Education. Higher School of UMak offers 4 tracks, namely the academic track, technical, vocational, and livelihood track, arts and design track, and sports track. Under these tracks are strands, some of which are specialized, like the teacher preparation program, cluster under the academic track, which aims to prepare students aspiring to pursue teacher education in college. The college is also proud to announce its partnership with global education platforms such as Khan Academy, expanding its reach through international collaborations with partners in Taiwan, Guam, US, China, and more to come, opening doors to cross-cultural learning and international exposure. Further affirming its commitment to excellence, the College of Innovative Teacher Education has been officially accredited as a continuing professional development provider, reinforcing its role as a pillar in advancing lifelong learning and professional growth. Guided by its core values: innovation, leadership, excellence, altruism, resilience, and nationalism. CITE envisions to become an internationally recognized center of excellence in teacher education. At CITE, they do more than educate. They inspire change, lead transformation, and build a future shaped by empowered educators devoted to serving both nation and humanity. This is the College of Innovative Teacher Education. This is CITE, proud proudly preparing the next generation of transformative leaders in education.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mark Lester Rudas, and I will be your host for today's program. As you may have seen earlier, I got a bit too excited. So let's begin this morning's session with focus and purpose. To formally welcome us to the second day of this international gathering, it is my privilege to introduce a respected academic leader whose dedication to academic excellence continues to strengthen the University of Makati's commitment to transformative education. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Vice President of Academic Affairs of the University of Makati, Professor Ederson D.T. Tapia, DPA.
Good morning. Okay, just would like to do a quick audio check. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you very much, Mark, for that kind introduction. And I'm so happy to have been invited in this important conference. And I'm really glad to be with you, although not in person, but even just online. So my task is to welcome everybody for the second day of this important session organized by our College of Innovative Teachers Education. So good morning again, distinguished guests, colleagues, partners, and fellow stewards of education. It is my honor to welcome you to the CITE International Summit 2026, hosted by the University of Makati through its College of Innovative Teacher Education. We gather under a theme that is at once hopeful and at the same time unsettling: the global learning renaissance, harmonizing technology, equity, and human-centeredness. I really like the theme so much. So kudos to those who crafted this very meaningful conference theme. Thinking about it, a renaissance suggests renewal, but it also suggests disruption of what we once thought was settled. And if we are honest, what is unsettled today is not simply how we teach. What is unsettled is who holds power over learning itself. As someone formed by the discipline of public administration, where I come from, I am compelled to read this moment rather differently. Because beneath the language of innovation, beneath artificial intelligence, immersive platforms, and hybrid systems, what we are in fact witnessing is the slow but palpable recognition of authority. Questions that are important include the following: who designs the system? Who governs it? Who are visible within it? And who disappears into its blind spots? My sense is that these questions are not peripheral concerns, but in fact strike into the very central question of governance. And I think this is where we need to confront some uncomfortable truths. Number one, the technology does not arrive as neutral. It arrives already carrying assumptions about efficiency, about intelligence, about whose knowledge counts. And if left unexamined, it does not democratize learning. It can just as easily reproduce hierarchy, and to make matters worse, at scale. Public administration has long taught us that systems, once institutionalized, acquire a life of their own. They become routines. They become expectations. They become eventually invisible. And the most dangerous systems are precisely those that we stop questioning. So when we speak of hybrid learning, of virtual reality, of artificial intelligence, of sustainable education, we are not simply discussing tools. We are in fact participating in the construction of a new administrative order of learning. An order where decisions about access, pedagogy, and participation are increasingly mediated by code, by platforms and infrastructures that few fully see, but many of us live within it. The question then is not whether we will adopt these technologies. That has already been answered several times already. The real question is this: will we remain anchors or authors of the system, or will we become its functionaries? Because there's a big difference. To be an author is to decide what the system is for. To be a mere functionary is to operate within its constraints. A true renaissance, therefore, demands authorship. It demands that we reclaim the human capacity to define purpose in the face of accelerating capability. It demands that we insist, quietly but firmly, that education is not reducible to what can be automated, measured, or optimized. That, at its core, education remains an encounter between teacher and learner, between self and society, between knowledge and responsibility. And this is where public administration, at its best, offers a moral anchor. It reminds us that governance is not merely about making systems work. It is about ensuring that these systems serve, that they serve the public, that they serve with equity, and that they serve with dignity. So as we open this summit for our sessions today, I invite everybody to resist the temptation of easy enthusiasm, not to reject technology, but to interrogate it, not to slow innovation, but to direct it, not to celebrate tools, but to ask relentlessly who they are for and what they make possible or impossible for others. Because in the end, the measure of this so-called learning renaissance will not be how advanced our technologies become. It will be whether in the midst of all of this transformation, we had the courage to remain human and the discipline to govern what we create. On behalf of the University of Makati, welcome to the CITE International Summit 2026. Maraming salamat po at magandang umaga sa inyong lahat.
Thank you very much, Professor Tapia, for your inspiring words of welcome and for setting the tone for today's summit. As you have emphasized, this moment marks a significant turning point in our history, as we are truly privileged to bring together international experts and speakers to be part of this meaningful and momentous event. Their presence reflects our strong commitment of global collaboration and excellence in teacher education. Now, to add vibrance to this glorious morning, we now present a special performance from one of the prides of the University of Makati. Please stay connected as we welcome the UMak-CITE Dance Troupe. Thank you very much, UMak-CITE, for that captivating performance. We now proceed to part 3 of the conference proper, where we continue our discussions on pressing issues and innovations shaping education in the digital age. Before we proceed, just a gentle reminder to our online participants. Should you have any questions during the presentation, you may kindly type them in the chat box. Our distinguished speaker will be addressing your questions right after the talk during the open forum or Q&A session. We encourage everyone to actively participate and take this opportunity to engage in a meaningful discussion. Our first session for today is entitled The Ethics of Data, Protecting the Student in a Digital World. To give every student a personalized experience, technology needs to watch how they learn. This theme looks at how we can use that data responsibly without invading a student's privacy or labeling them forever based on an algorithm. Our first speaker this morning is an esteemed academic from Tokyo Gakugei University in Tokyo, Japan, whose work focuses on the ethical dimensions of technology and education. He is a specially appointed assistant professor at Tokyo Gakugei University, Japan. His research focuses on sports informatics, performance analysis, and the application of artificial intelligence and markerless motion capture technologies in sports science and education. He investigates the validity and practical implementation of human pose estimation models for lower body kinematics and movement analysis, while also developing innovative educational applications such as metaverse-based dance classes for physical education and AI-driven VR teaching materials for foreign language learning. He earned his Bachelor of Science in Fitness and Wellness Leadership from the State University of New York at Plattsburgh in 2019, and his Master of Science in Sport and Exercise Science from the Technical University of Munich in 2021. And he is currently completing his PhD in Sports Informatics and Performance Analysis at the Technical University of Munich. He has published extensively in international peer-reviewed journals, contributing to validation studies of pose estimation systems, multi-method 3D markerless motion capture, sensor instrumented training, and applied biomechanics in both sports and clinical contexts. Actively engaged in the international research community, he regularly presents at major conferences in sports science, performance analysis, and computer science in sport, and continues to advance interdisciplinary collaborations that integrate AI, immersive technologies, and movement science to enhance sports performance and physical education. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Assistant Professor Takashi Fukushima from the land of the rising sun, Japan.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, thank you very much. And I cannot open up my camera because it says I don't have access. I don't have access to that, or
Okay,
like
let me follow
I
up
don't
with
have
our
a
technical.
permission by
Okay,
the host. Yes.
okay, sir, let me follow up with our technical team.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. And also, I cannot share my screen because I don't have permission to do that.
Yeah, they're currently working on it.
Thank you. Thank you so
How's
much.
everything in Japan right now? Is the
Uh,
weather okay?
yeah, weather is okay. It's getting warmer and cherry
Oh,
blossom is blooming.
fantastic. You're in spring
Yeah,
now? Yeah,
it's
the season is
really,
spring, right?
Yes.
Oh, right. Uh, okay. So, and it's 9:31 in Japan. I think you're an hour ahead of us.
Yes, yes, that's true.
I bet you woke up early for this.
Okay, yeah, I
Oh,
did.
there. We can
Right,
see.
yeah. There you go. Hi, everyone. Finally, let me see if I can share my screen. Oh, all right. Seems like I can do that. Okay. Do you see my screen?
It's loading. Yep, we can see you and your screen.
All right. Yeah, sounds good. And this seems working. All right. So let me start my presentation. Uh, Yeah, thank you very much for giving me such a great opportunity to talk about ethics of student data, and I really appreciate your welcoming, and I really appreciate your introduction, and yeah, I'm here, and I'm really honored to be here and talk about uh, this topic in front of a lot of people. And again, my name is Takashi Fukushima from Japan, and I'm an assistant, specially appointed assistant professor at Tokyo Gakuin University. I will explain a little bit about me in the next slide, right? Okay, I should be able to go to the next slide. Okay. All right. Before talking about me, I will. Yeah, this is the agenda. So first of all, I will talk about balancing privacy and personalization in education. After that, I will talk about ownership and the control of student data. Then, okay, I have to double check with this third topic. And after that, I will talk about force building trust and supporting student growth. And I will also talk about the future direction of ethics uh, as a wrap up. Okay. And about me, so as already introduced, I am specially appointed assistant professor at the Tokyo Gakuin University, so which is located in Tokyo, like west side of Tokyo. It's not center of Tokyo, but yeah, it's still in Tokyo, and this university is it's like Tokyo Normal University. It's literally the best university for teacher education, teacher training. It's like almost similar with University of Makati, if I recognize your university correctly. So we should have like a similar interest between us, I think. And the Tokyo Gakuin University actually has a connection or like a collaboration with Philippine Normal University. I think Philippine Normal University is also one of the best education or like a teacher training university. So when I watched your video, actually, I was thinking we should have a collaboration together, right? So we can have like something really meaningful and interesting for student and the future teachers, right? Yeah, that's what it sounds actually. But yeah, anyway, so that this is my job, and also I have another affiliation. I'm still a PhD student at the Technical University of Munich, and as introduced, my background is actually coming from sports science, especially like a biomechanics sports performance analysis using markerless motion capture system, which is new technology to capture the motions of athletes or sports players. I will show you like how it works in a bit in the next slide. But that's actually my background, and Yeah, I started building the application for sports performance and for the athlete first, but now I'm in the Tokyo Gakuin University and developing the application for education using XR Metaverse and AI. So, when I'm in Tokyo, I'm like engineers, rather than researchers, I would say. I still research, but like I develop many applications as a software engineer for the kids and students. But when I'm in Munich, I'm more towards the sports scientist. Yeah. So yeah, I'm in Tokyo now, so like I'm more towards the software engineering side, right? Okay. So let me start talking about my research area in Munich. So as I said, Macros motion capture system is the new technology with AI, and the AI can detect the skeleton or like a joint location of human from the image or videos. Actually, this technology is not only used in sports performance area, but also like in many fields, like education or like a security, etc., or health, uh, for example, right? Or like yeah, construction also, right? So this is very useful because you just need to take a video or take a photo of somebody, and AI can just detect the joint locations and use that detected point. We can do like many things, like calculating joint angles, measuring speed, acceleration, and you can just get a feedback to the athletes or sports players so that they can understand their performance, right? And they can also run about like injury prevention, etc., right? When it's used in health, we can use this technology for like like a rehabilitation, for example, right? Instead of somebody teaching like moving the like arms going up and down for the rehabilitation, we can make a program just detecting the patient movement by AI, and AI can tell it should move like more like this degree, that degree, for example, and the data can be stored and used by doctors or like a physiotherapist, and they can change the rehabilitation program, etc., etc. And also in education, we had a really interesting project to use this markerless motion capture system, which is the cross-curricular study. And we took the video of students and I run the AI to detect the student joint location and use the we provided the data to student and the student learned how to analyze their movement using their physics knowledge, for example. Yeah. So we build like a lot of things around the markerless motion capture system actually in education. But now I'm just like showing the example of how it's used in performance analysis, just my introduction. So what can we do is, just taking a video of somebody like doing some performance like this, and I can just like visualize it in 3D. So this AI is specialized for detecting the human joint locations from 2D image and output as 3D. So the video is frontal, right? The shooting from front, but the data is 3D. So I can view the data from multiple angles, like 360 degrees, right? And also using that data, I can simulate ground reaction force, for example. This data is actually not only useful in performance analysis, but also we can use that in education. You know, in the math class, they learn the vector, right? And ground reaction force has vector. So like they can like run vector like using their data, right? Using the data coming from the performance, for example, right? So you see like the arrow is coming up from the ground. This is purely simulated from the data we just took from the video. And you don't need like expensive devices. It's all free, right? So this is really nice tools for education. I wish I had another lecture talking about like this like a new technology which is useful for education. But yeah, this is for another time, I guess. All right. Okay, I just. All right, then I have multiple publications regarding performance analysis using Margaret's motion capture system. Most of them are based on validation study, meaning the uh, researching about the accuracy of Margaret's motion capture system, because Margaret's motion capture system is relatively new technology. And we traditionally use the marker-based motion capture system. Maybe like you have watched some of the Hollywood movie making videos, the actors and actress touching bunch of markers on the body on the green background. They make a CZ out of it. That's like a traditional way to capture the motions. So basically just comparing the data coming from marker-based motion capture system against the marker-based motion capture system, and this paper showing what's the accuracy of marker-based motion capture system. All right, and also I have another paper about conceptual framework, basically like how you can use the 3D markerless motion capture system in sports and exercise. So there are multiple ways to use that, and yeah, maybe I will talk about it in another time. This is just like out of topic. This is just my introduction of what I'm doing in Technical University of Munich. All right. Now, coming back to another phase of me, which is assistant professor at the Tokyo Gakuin University, and I'm mostly working as a software engineer, and I combine cutting edge technologies into application, and I am developing something useful and meaningful for education. Okay, so new technologies or cutting edge technologies such as MetaQuest. This is. Let me see if I can get the pointer on here. Arrow option. All right, I don't think I can get the pointer, but yeah, maybe you see a VR headset on the top. This is the MetaQuest I often use for to create educational application, a software. The next to that, it's a heart rate monitor from Polar. This is also helpful in education. And the one below on the left is an IMU-based motion capture system. It's called Mokopi by Sony. So you just need to attach this circle sensor. Inside there is an IMU chip, which consists of gyroscope, accelerometers, like a magnetometer. Basically, you can capture the motions of whole body just attaching 6 sensors. This is also very useful. And when students attach this Sony Mocopi, they often get excited about it, and they almost forget about like this is the class. But yeah, I can show you like some of the examples of using this Mocopi for this education. And one below is the ground reaction force sensor, but it's force plate actually, but you can put this inside of the shoes, your shoes, as an insole. So usually, force plate is it's actually the plate, very heavy plate. You have to put it on the ground, and if you step on the plate, then you can detect the ground reaction force. That's the traditional way, or that's at least in the performance analysis, like that's how we usually correct the ground reaction force data. But nowadays, the sensor is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and you can put it inside of the insole. So yeah, this is like a very cutting edge technology, and you can use this data for education also. Just like I explained in the previous slide, ground reaction force contains a vector, and student run vector in the math class, for example, then student can correct their data in physical education class, and they come back to the classroom and they use that ground reaction force data to run vector in the math, for example. So that's what we do in the Tokyo Gakuin University. And one next is, yeah, obviously you may know. And we also connect ChatGPT to the education software. And I will show you the example in the next slide. And the one next is, yeah, drone. This is very useful for physical education, and we usually use this for physical education class. Yeah. And this is one of the applications I developed. It's called the Metaverse Dance application. And basically how it works is like you can dance in Metaverse. And yeah, this is the Marker's motion capture system, and this is me demonstrating how it works. So as you see, the little skeleton is following me on the camera, and this data is transferred to the avatar inside the metaverse, so that you see, you can experience like, you feel like you're dancing in the metaverse together with a lot of other people. So the video on the left side showing that like a lot of people were captured by Macros motion capture system and dancing together inside of the metaverse. So this application try to overcome the inclusiveness and distance learning together at the same time for PE. And the physical education class, like you may already know, but like often inclusiveness and distance learning are ignored. But in this system, like we can just invite like many people, just like you can invite a student, just like a healthy student, and also like a student with a wheelchair, and you can also invite like somebody from like abroad, and yeah, basically like you can dance all together inside the metaverse. Yeah, right. So another application like I developed, this is for English class. In English, it's very important to have a student curiosity and interest. And it's very nice to have like a cultural experience at the same time at learning the English. Sorry. So this application, we went to where? I think we went to, oh yeah, we went to Boston and we recorded 360 videos there, and we just put it inside of the MetaQuest application, and they can just have an experience, like a feeling like they're in the actually in the Boston. And this avatar, you see it in the front on the right side, she is ChatGPT actually. So if student talks, AI can reply, and if I can give you some conversation there.
Great. Can you see a high building?
Are you hearing the voice? I hope it's
Of course. Can you see a high building?
yes.
Awesome. Can you see a library?
So sorry, it's a long introduction, but like I will stop here. But yeah, basically like the AI asks you some questions and I answered it correctly. Then I can move to the another section, which is we go inside of the library of the Boston. It's a Boston library, I guess, and AI gives me like another couple of questions, and if I answer it correctly, then it moves to another section, and afterwards, in the last, I can get some feedback, like I got 3 stars, for example. So yeah, this is just an example of application using MetaQuest via and ChatGPT, right? This is for English class. All right. Sorry for the wrong introduction on me, and I will just get started. Just get started about the data privacy for the students. So first topic is balancing privacy and personalization in education, right? So personalized learning and data collection. So basically, personalized learning adapts content and pays to each student using signals from assessments, learning behaviors, and preferences, right? And academic performance and engagement metrics, and sometimes more sensitive inputs. So students, maybe like you collect some data for like a biometrics, locational data, grade, et cetera, et cetera. Those are like very sensitive, and those data can identify the specific students, right? That's very sensitive. And why privacy matters, I don't have to say, right? I mean, like it's really and to protect the students basically. Okay. And there are some, I mean, like benefits and challenges between like privacy and personalization. So privacy, I mean, obviously this is to protect the students and also like teachers, right? But challenges is it limits access to the data needed for personalization. It may hinder adaptive learning technologies, right? So personalization benefits, so that enhances learning outcomes through tailored instruction, increases student engagement, supports diverse learning needs, right? So personalization education is one key component in Japan also, right? So teachers and schools are really struggling how to personalize the learning, because each student has like each way to learn the materials, and adapting it is really difficult. And at some point, like I think we have to control it as a data, but if you make it in the data and store it somewhere, then what's the privacy, how we can protect the data to protect the students, right? So those are like challenges, personalization challenges. So we have to like balance out somehow between privacy and personalization. And I will give you like some of the examples in the latest, right? So one of the things we usually use is AI. So nowadays AI is crazy, right? I mean, I think most of the people here are already using AI to help you like something like help your work, uh, help your leisure time, etc., etc. So you can input like anything to the AI as a data, right? You can put like a student grade. Okay, so yeah, student grade. You can input like a student test score. For the biometrics, like you can put like heart rate. You can put the anthropometric data like student height, weight, blah blah blah, and you can also input like chat history with AI, like student chat history with AI, and the class attendance, like a preference, like student like reading a book, student like playing soccer, student like I don't know, like a P class, like a modern math, something like that preference, and also personal information like where they live, uh, yeah, just a family, for example, like a travel history, I don't know, it's a personal information, blah, 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 right? You can input that data and AI, and AI can be like a mini, it's if those data are already inside the AI, it's not the AI is no longer a teacher, but like it's more like partner, right? And they can like walk through with the students, and they can AI can suggest some like learning materials, etc. etc. It's like very very personalized AI, right? But that means what's the privacy, right? If somebody try to hack this AI, then all the data is exposed uh, to that person. But AI is very useful, and this is actually one way to personalize some of the learning for the student. And I would say, I think this is most efficient way and best way I mean like other software. Because if you have a class of like a 30 student and you are the only teacher, how you like a personal, how you approach to each student, right? It's very difficult. So rather we let AI to be like a mini teacher, and they handle all the student data and personalize the learning for each student. That's more efficient, and I would say it's kind of the best way as at this point. But that's for the perspective of personalization, but perspective of privacy, that's not the best practice, right? And I will show you like probably like some of the ways to balance out like a privacy and personalization in the next slide. So the problem is, okay, so this is what I just said. So AI get a lot of data, combine a lot of data, and give the student or teacher, parents, the device suggestion and support, for example, right? All right. And this is more like application development side, or like how AI works, or like how other things work as well. But basically, ChatGPT, for example, it's on the open server, meaning that it's in the website. It's on the some. I mean, like many people can access to it. Of course, you make account for the OpenAI, and you use the password, right, and username to access to the account, and then you use the ChatGPT, right? So it's the account itself is somehow protected, but like if the username and the password are stolen by somebody, or like it's exposed to uh, like a public, for example, by mistake, for example, then suddenly all the data is exposed, right? So in that sense, like open server, like many people can access uh, to your data, right? YouTube, yes. The videos, yeah. So when you like upload the videos to YouTube, meaning that you upload the videos to like a server, open server. Of course, again, like a YouTube account, your YouTube account is yours, but the owner of the server is not you, right? It's the company, it's Google, right? So of course, without permission, Google cannot basically access to your data, but like we don't know what's going on behind, right? Maybe they're monitoring your data or like uploaded videos. I don't know, right? So in that sense, like open server, like many people can, or like the third party or like third people can watch your data. So that's a risk. And a lot of website also, and Google Drive, OneDrive, like many like a cloud service, which exists in open server. Then you are not the owner of the server, but somebody, right? So that means maybe somebody is doing like something behind you. So the AI ChatGPT is also it's a case. So open server versus like a local server and a local computer is different. So local server, like if you create a server, like, I mean, you can create a server, your own server, right? That means the server is 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 yours, right? Not somebody else. And you can store the AI, right? If the AI is available, and DeepSeek is one of the AI. You can just download it, and you can put that AI into a local server or your local computer. ChatGPT, unfortunately, you cannot download it, so that you have to use that in open server or like their open AI server. So there's no availability, but other AI, right? For example, you can just download it and you can put it on the local server. And the server is yours and nobody else can touch it unless it's hacked or like, something happens. But if that happens, you can just shut down the server and yeah, your data is there. I mean, like you lose the data maybe, but you can shut down the access to your local server, right? And videos also, and the data on the storage. You can store some of the data on your local server. And local computer also, right? If you just shut down the internet access, you can just download your AI into your laptop or like a computer, videos, and your SSD storage. For example, I mean, the computer is yours. I mean, you have a control on whatever inside of your computer, right? So that's, I would say, more secured. However, it's not convenient, right? Nowadays, without Wi-Fi, I mean, what you can do with your laptop is very, very limited, right? Unless like if everything on the cloud, you can access to the data almost anywhere, as long as you are connected with Wi-Fi. So open server is, I would say, more convenient, but local server, local computer is more secured, right? But cost, yeah, it costs a lot, right? If you want to build your own server, then yeah, you have to pay for that, right? And also you have to pay for the running costs as well. And local computer, if you want to download the AI and use it on your computer, like locally, then you have to have a like a high spec, high-end computer, which is more expensive than normal computer, right? And also if you store all your data on your computer, then you have to buy for storage, like USB storage, SSD, and maybe like you want to expand your computer storage capacity by paying extra money, for example, right? So yeah, that's why many people use ChatGPT, because it's on it's on the open server. They can access to like almost anywhere with any device as long as internet is connected. People use Google Drive because you can just upload and download the like a materials, like a data, like with any device, right? The people watch YouTube because they can watch the videos anywhere. Okay. All right, so that's like a balancing out like personalization and privacy. So you have to think about like what's the like middle point. And coming to the next point, which is ownership and control of student data. So who owns student data? That's a big question. And schools are often custodians, but ownership and control can be ambiguous across systems and contracts. And there are multiple stakeholders like governments, LTech providers, parents, etc., etc. And they may have claims, rights, and responsibilities for data use and protection. And also, this kind of best practice have to so unclear ownership can enable misuse or weak safeguards. Clear governance defines rules, and accountability. Right. And basically, institutional custodianships, schools or educational institutions typically act as custodians, managing and safeguarding student data on behalf of students and families. And also government oversight. Government agencies may set regulations, standards, and oversight mechanism for data protection and usage. LTech providers. I'm a software engineer, but like I think across these stakeholders, I'm more in LTech providers, and we may process or store student data often under contract with schools, right, or parents or students, right? And also there is a parental involvement, and the parents may have rights to access correct or control certain aspects of their children's data. Okay, those are basic things and how they interact each other regarding the ownership of data. And the student and the parental data control. Consent initiation. So this is this also happens to me also, and yeah, whenever like I develop the applications and provide it to schools or like students, and we have to have like a consent to parents and the student the usage of like a data, right? For example, like the English BL English application I just showed you in the beginning of the presentation. As I mentioned, it's use the ChatGPT, and we collected the data for chat history, right? To later analyze the behavior of the student and the word amount and word count uh, of yeah students, right? And later we just did a statistical analysis, and also we connected uh, that data with student English grade or test score and see if there is a like a correlation or like a relationship uh, between those data, blah blah blah. And to have that data, we explained like this application uses ChatGPT, and we collect the chat history, blah blah blah. And as we don't provide the application unless like we have those consent from the parents. Especially those applications were used by elementary school students. We have to explain the application and our data usage to parents very, very carefully. So consent initiation is very fast step. You have to really make sure with parents, schools, teachers, and I mean like everyone who is involved in the project itself, right? And also, it's very important to have a dashboard access, and you may also have this experience, but when you share some data through Google Drive, you can just share the link, and you can control the access, right? You invite somebody as an editor or like a viewer or a commenter, etc., etc. And this also happens to the applications I develop or like somebody develops, right? It has to be user friendly, and you should like divide the access. So this data student can access, this data parents can access, this data teachers can access, and EdTech providers or like software engineers or developers should divide the access. And during the development, you should also talk to the teachers, how you design the UI, how you design the access control, for example. Okay. And the correction rights. So if student parents have a request for corrections, and if they want to see the data, we should allow them to do so. I mean, it depends on the contract, basically. I mean, obviously, the parents should not see other students or data, but like at least like they should see their own data. But in case something happens, like some accident or like some issues or like problems, depending on the situation or cases, we have to be ready for opening up the data. Sorry. And this should be also discussed and during the development and also very beginning of the project start. I mean, like a project. Okay. And active consent renewal, and over time the situation will change, right? So we have to renew the consent, renew the agreement like between like a schools or providers, and yeah. So that's very important, right? Especially I'd say you may renew the contract like once in school year. It's nice to have that when school starts, right? Because situation will change that point of period. Okay. And support and compliance. So resources address digital literacy gaps, and processes align with safeguarding stakeholders, right? Yes. And yeah, if there is anything like unclear from like schools or teachers, parents, edtech providers, or like software development, software developers, engineers, we have to explain that really, really carefully. This is our obligations, and yeah, so that like schools and parents, students, they understand the applications, and they can use it. I mean, like, they feel like they're protected, right? So that's from our end, more or less, and also the parents and teachers and schools can ask the developers and the providers for the explanation. So that's also your right. And yeah, this is for the ownership, and this is just like one of the examples of like how you like store the data to protect the students, right? So when you have some contract with edtech providers or software developers or like engineers, etc., etc., you have to discuss with the architecture of software, for example, right? So what you shouldn't do is uploading or like connecting the data with student's name, right? The point is the data shouldn't tell the person who belongs, right? So for example, like a math grade, a height 170. This is a, I don't know, record from physical education. Born in Japan, or like preference, etc., etc. Those data, like I explained, you could feed to the AI. For example, in the previous slide, right? Those like data can be stored in the storage, right? But you shouldn't connect those data with like a name label like this, like Takashi Fukushima, right? So if you connect the data with the name, or like some like specific, I don't know, like a student ID, which can ID which can tell the specific student or identify the student, then that's not a safe way to store data. Especially if you control or like manage data inside of the cloud storage. And nowadays, edtech providers provide like some applications like managing all the data in the cloud, for example. You shouldn't provide or like open up the data linked with student. I mean, which is more convenient, right? I mean, for the teachers, for like engineers, if just if you just scroll the like a student name and you just click on it, then like a data is already there, then it's convenient, but it's not safe. So instead, what you should do is you just provide the data and just random name on it, label it, right? Then the schools and teachers should have another data which can connect the label with student name. You shouldn't open or like give the ownership of this data to somebody else, like tech providers or like engineers or developers, blah blah blah. So those are data you should keep inside, or at least you should have ownership on it. You lock it and put it somewhere, like your local computer or local server. Or it's not convenient because the developers or like application doesn't have information. Then like on the UI, you should only see like a student A or B or C, which I mean, you should keep the record on the side, and you have to see, okay, student A is okay. This person blah blah blah. Student B is this person blah blah blah. Each time, you have to come back to your data you keep on your computer and link to the data which you see it on the whatever application like tech providers provide, for example, right? But to protect the student, that's something like you have to see. Otherwise, I mean, you really have to trust the tech providers or developers or like engineers, or you develop your application on your own on the local server, right? That's something like you have to really, really double check with the providers. But things we have to be very, very careful is even though like you separate the data and you dislink the data with the student name or like a student identifier ID, blah blah blah. Those data like pictures, videos, obviously pictures about videos like the somebody can identify if the face is on the picture or yeah some part of the body is on the video, for example, then this data already tells the specific student there, right? So those data you need to be really, really careful. Maybe you have extra security on this data. Also voice, right? Nowadays, people can tell the student, like a specific student by the voice. So those data, you should have like an extra security. Maybe you should increase. You should have some passwords or like yeah. So sorry, I just forgot the name. But like I will show you in the next slide. But like yeah, you should be really, really careful with those data, even though like you dislink the data with the student's ID or like a name. Okay. And yeah, next point, education application development and privacy. Since I'm a developer, I can talk about this, and this is one of my areas when I'm in Tokyo at the Tokyo Gakuin University, and since I really careful with the privacy, and I will talk about it in this section. So educational application development. So using new technology and application can open up the opportunity and the possibility of learning, right? So I think in the first day of this summit, there are many professors are talking about like new technology, AI, et cetera, and that's the possibility and the opportunity, right? We can not just avoid the new technology coming into education, right? And new technology, I showed you some of the applications in the beginning of the slide, PowerPoint, and yeah, like XR metaverse, as I said, like there is a possibility to overcome inclusiveness and the distance learning. As I mentioned in the metaverse dance application, everyone can be included, and we can overcome the distance, right? Because it's in the metaverse. AI, I talked about AI in the balancing personalization and privacy. AI is very, very useful. AI can act as like a mini teacher. And in Japan, we had like a kind of the like a challenges during the physical education, especially during the reflection time. So in the physical education, the teachers teach the some like materials like jumping box or like hurdles, long jump, et cetera, et cetera. And at the end of the physical education class, traditionally, we just picked some of the students, like what was the point of this class, et cetera, et cetera. It's a reflection time, right? But we could only point out like some of the students out of like 30 students, for example. But those students like who pointed out and speak up, they take like all the benefits of reflection time, right? Basically, and not all the audience, like a student as an audience, not hearing sometimes. I would say most of the time, right? As long as like unless all of them are engaged, really, really engaged, 100%. But if you use AI in the reflection time, like students just like bring up the tablet and AI asks each student a question. What was the point of this class? And the student answers that the question like from AI. So we can equalize the reflection time opportunity, and at the same time, students can do the reflection with mini AI, and the teachers can look up the chat history of students, right? So yeah, this is just like one example of like how we use AI during the physical education class. But yeah, that's a possibility. That's something like we couldn't do without AI, but now we can. Heart rate monitor is just like another example, like safety monitor, like, if something happens, something not expected could happen during the physical education, especially, right? And the heart rate is one of the key components like we can like a monitor for the safeguard or like a safety, right? If the heart rate like going up crazy and doesn't go down, then that's something maybe wrong with the student in the specific situation. Maybe like they had I don't know, like a less breakfast, or like they skipped lunch, or like maybe like they are not feeling really well, but they are, like they feel they're fine, but like their body is telling like something wrong inside. That could happen, right? So heart rate monitor, in the past, like we didn't have that, like, right? But now like a Polar or yeah, I just or like Apple Watch, Samsung Watch. Those also have a heart rate monitor, and nowadays like we can connect that watch or like heart rate monitor, and we can just monitor the student's heart rate real time. That's something like we couldn't do in the past, but like now we can. And we also do that in Japan, and it's very useful, right? And development and privacy, new technology and application need careful investigation of risk of information exposed since they are often under development on the field, right? So it's nice to have new technology, but we also have to think about privacy at the same time. But how we do that? So in this sense, developers or edtech providers have to understand education, what's the needs, what's the demands, and at the same time, what kind of like a privacy that the protection technology that we have to use for the education. It should be different from like other clients, right? But we have to think about specifically for education. But at the same time, teachers or schools also, need to like a step up a little bit more towards the development side, because this educational application or like a software development should be like we have to collaborate together to get what we want for the student learning, right? So both sides, like developers and the schools, get together and understand each other and step towards each field together. And now I will explain the application just a little bit, right, for you to understand, because I think most of the audience are like from school teachers, I guess. Yeah. So there are mainly four types regarding the software and application. Maybe you have heard of it: Android, Windows, iOS, and web applications. That's another type. So Android, Windows, iOS, Android works in Android device, Windows works in Windows laptop, iOS works in Mac or like iPhones, right? And you may recognize that some of the application doesn't require internet, right? But some does. Like for example, like a TikTok, or like a YouTube, Instagram. You have to have an internet to see your friends like videos or like I don't know, pictures, etc. But like I don't know, like a watch application or I don't know, some of the calendar application. For example, those application you don't need the internet access to open it, right? So those application, like some of them, internet access is not required. So it brings to the open server, right? You remember the open server, like ChatGPT or like a Google Drive, for example. So connecting to the internet on the web, not necessary, but most of the time, the data should be goes to the open server, right? Most of the time. That means there's a risk of data exposure. But if you develop the application which doesn't require internet, that means you are on the local side, local computer. You have ownership of the data inside of your device, right? However, if you try to create or develop the application, or like if you try to install some of the application from the tech providers on web-based that means internet is required. That means unless this web application is on the local server, most of the time tech providers provide application which data is handled on open server, right? Which there is a risk for the data exposure. That's something that you have to be really, really careful, right? Because those like Chrome, Edge, Firefox, they doesn't function without the internet. But Android, iOS, Windows, those can be functional without internet. So those are like types, pros and cons, and I will explain in the later slide. But those are like basic types of software and application. Not only education, but yeah, in general, those are just application types. And yeah, basically like how we integrate like new technology into those application types. So ChatGPT, MetaQuest, heart rate monitor, it's just like combined. So for example, MetaQuest is working on Android, right? So MetaQuest application is integrated into Android, right? ChatGPT, you can integrate with Windows application, iOS, Android, web. However, again, remember ChatGPT is on the open server, like on somewhere on the web, on the web, right? So it doesn't, it's no matter you develop the application, it's Windows, iOS, Android, web, your data will be going to the open server, like somewhere on the web, right? And the heart rate, it depends, right? Usually you integrate into Windows, iOS, Android, or web. It doesn't matter, but like usually data will be transferred via Bluetooth. So the data doesn't go to the web, but you gotta be careful with the Bluetooth access. Yeah, that's like a basic how the technology integrates into the application. So as I explained that if you use the ChatGPT, even though like you integrate into Android applications, there is a data exposure risk because ChatGPT is on the OpenAI server, which is somewhere on the web, right? Obviously, OpenAI locks the server, right? And you have your own account of ChatGPT with a password and user ID, but you don't have a control on it. You don't have an ownership on it. The OpenAI has everything in their hand, but you don't. So that's the thing. Instead, if you just download the AI and input this AI into Android, you can use that AI without internet, right? And you own the AI inside of your device, Android device, for example. I mean, in this example, right? So that means data doesn't go anywhere. It's just sitting inside of the Android. However, the AI nowadays, I mean, like if you wanna install the AI on your computer or your smartphone, as I explained in the previous slide, it's big, right? You need extra storage. And here I said the app site gets bigger, yeah. And also you have to have a really good Android device or a computer to handle AI process, right? So example two. So even like you integrate like a MetaQuest into Android, but if the application has a connection to the cloud, like a Google Cloud or OneDrive, Google Drive, etc., etc., this connection can have a data exposure risk, right? in the sense you have to really make sure like your data is this is about actually I wanted to say encrypt, yeah, and you have to have a password on it. You may add authentication and anonymous data saving. So as I said, like you shouldn't connect the student data with the label with student ID or like student name, etc., etc., right? But password you may set for yourself maybe, but like you should ask the tech providers or like developers, engineers to have a function for access and to encrypt the data. And also like you should ask for the authentication, right? I will explain the authentication in the later slide. All right. Common development problems such as in Japan, and this is usually happens when I try to like develop the application together with the school and teachers. So in Japan, each student has a tablet, right? Whether it's iOS, or like Android tablet or like Surface, etc., etc. Each student has it in Japan, right? When I try to create the application, develop the application and try to install it in the student device, usually Windows, Android, and iOS application blocked because this tablet is controlled by the school or government, right? Teachers doesn't have access. Student doesn't have access. I mean, they have access to like some of the contents which are reviewed by school and government, but they usually don't allow like some like applications which are under development, right? They only allow like some like a safe, like a really heavily reviewed applications by school and government. Okay, so we cannot easily provide those applications, but website is much more easier. I mean, usually this tablet is access to the school Wi-Fi, right? But you know, teachers just ask the government to give like access to a certain website, right? This is much more easier because you know government they just need to review the website, which is much more easier than reviewing Windows, Android, iOS applications. However, as I explained, like again and again and again, on the website, there is more data exposure risk, and yeah, the government, the schools, what they worry is the software malware risk from the Windows, Android, iOS applications. This is really complicated because those applications are already packed and they have to like open up the application package and check the component one by one. But internet, you know, somehow like they just check it with the link provided and yeah, just review it, right? So that's much more easier to be accessed by the student tablet. So coming to the authentication, so when you you know have a sorry, so 15 minutes left, I think. So when you have a collaboration with the engineers and the tech providers, you may ask for like how the data is handled. And if you have a chance, I mean, like, you know, no matter like you have a chance or not, but like you should ask for authentication access, right? So usually I use the Firebase provided by Google. This Firebase has like a cloud storage, has a cloud function and a website hosting functionalities. And I know a lot of tech providers use this Firebase as well because it's very, very useful. And Google provides some data protection automatically there, right? But on top of that, you should also ask for Google authentication, and you should control the username and the password, like when you install the application from the tech providers, or like when you collaborate to develop some applications, you should ask for this. Right. So when student access to web application like from Chrome or like a Firefox or like a blah blah blah, they should go through this authentication, and then you can see what's inside of the application. So you should have extra step, but it's not protected. Otherwise, other people can also see the application. So that's a problem, right? That's not safe. All right, building trust for student growth. So this is last section of this presentation. And yeah, designing systems that support learners. So this is more like the relationship between school teachers, parents, government, policymakers, and developers, tech providers, etc., etc. We should like prioritize learner choice, privacy controls, and clear feedback instead of like a passive continuous monitoring, right? So build for learning quality, transparency, consent, minimal correction, and privacy by default interactions. So schools need to understand the workflow development. That's something like I mentioned in the previous section, right? And also developers need to explain the risks and how the data is we have to explain it with a transparency and a clear vision, right? Empowering mistakes running without fear. So first of all, like initial data policy. So traditional data practice often penalizes mistakes and leading to student anxiety and reduce their willingness to experiment. Yeah. And policy evolution, adoption of anonymized data and growth oriented feedback models shift focus from judgment to guidance, and safe learning environment. Students gain confidence to make mistakes, fostering resilient experimentation and deeper learning. Okay. And I will explain like more like a development like a cycle, right? So usually what happens is we do the hearing, and we have a meeting and understand the demand and the needs for student learning. And then we do the prototyping of applications and software and give it to the schools, and we get feedback, and we provide application and feedback, blah, blah, blah. So we should have this cycles like many times, right? And in the previous slide, I said like you should ask for authentication and data protection, blah, blah, blah. During this cycle, you should ask for it, so that developers understand, oh, I need to, add the functions for authentication, the passwords, data protection, etc., etc. And we will explain, okay, so we added this function to protect the data, blah, blah, blah. And it's same for the tech providers. You should ask for like authentication to be added for the applications they provide. Okay. So these cycles and this like communication build the trust between school and developers. And without it, you know, we as engineers don't understand the needs and the protection level like the application needs to have. And schools also, needs to understand what the current stage of protection can be done or can be developed uh, within the agreement, right? So we should have this type of data privacy communication between, so that build the trust. All right, the future of student data ethics. Oh, sorry, I had just one more section, but this is rather short. So my point is, should we just ban new technology and AI from getting into education? And yeah, I just had like one example, like in Japan, one city, it's a really big city in Japan, just banned the use of AI in schools. Yes, should we just do that? I mean, I think this city just banned it because of the privacy, right? However, what's gonna happen for the student in the future? So one student used AI in school, but one didn't, and they graduate the school and get into society and get a job in the work, and now everybody's using AI, right? But this student didn't use AI in school, so they just like kind of like a step behind regarding the AI, like usage of AI, right? So now like the work efficiency is it's so different if you use AI or if you don't use AI and do it manually, right? Is that for students? I mean, should we just ban it? I don't know. I mean, for me, we should teach how to use AI rather than just banning it, right? So again, like we should build a trust between schools and developers, and this AI is also maybe the city has some issues, problems in the past. Uh, I don't know. I don't know what's behind, but they just ban it, right? But if there is a trust between like a government, like a city, and like AI providers, for example, then maybe they change their mind. And also the schools and the government or parents or even students needs to understand the risk, and the developers or tech providers have to explain that risk, right? We already know the benefits, right? I already explained, and I think the professors in the past day already explained like how new technology and AI can be used in education. There are so many benefits, but also there is a risk behind, and we have to understand the risk, and we have to also educate the risk to the students and also the teachers. They have to research, they have to learn the risk to educate the students. Okay, and I'm almost done. I think this is the conclusion of ethical data use empowers students. So I explained balancing learning and privacy. Which is because personalization and the privacy, right? And also I explained the ownership control. So some of the data you should let the providers or developers to have it, but like you shouldn't link that to the specific student to be identified. So those identification you should keep it locally. So and you have to make sure the ownership control And those are the communication you should have with developers and tech providers. And I was like explaining about application development and privacies. And yeah, I just explained like a general workflow of application development, right? And during the development, you should ask for the data privacy functionalities. And that's the point, like you have to make sure if this application is safe or not, right? Also, developer side, like you have to explain the data privacy, how data is protected, right? And on the last point, I mentioned that build trust through teamwork. I mean, like communication, I would say here. And yeah, we have to talk about it during the development. And also, we should have an agreement at the beginning of development or like the beginning of installation of application, right? Those build a trust, and it's very important to have it in the beginning, not the end, right? Right. So it's almost the time, I think. And here, thank you very much for your attendance and listening. If you have any questions, you can just reach me out via email or like whatever tools. And my research paper is available. I just share you my ORC ID here. And if you also have any questions regarding the sports performance or like the Margaret's motion capture system or like technology identification, yeah, I'm open to that. So once again, thank you very much for giving me such a great opportunity to talk about like this topic. And I really appreciate your support. And this is my presentation. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Assistant Professor Fukushima, for that insightful and highly relevant presentation. It's always a pleasure having this kind of talk being presented in a multitude of audiences. So we will now proceed to the open forum. Participants from Zoom and YouTube, you may send your questions through the chat box or the raise hand feature. Okay, let me pick some. I'll ask you two questions, Assistant Professor Fukushima, because due to the interest of time.
Okay.
Okay, so first question. How can we use student data to support learning without making learners feel like they are being controlled or used?
Okay. This is more like the communication between teachers and students. So teachers have to understand the application, like a new technology itself. They don't have to understand like a really precisely or like a really more details, but they have to like somehow how it functions, etc. And they have to tell the purpose of using the new technology to the students. So in the sense, also the developers and the tech providers have to explain how application and new technology works to the teachers, right? So that teachers understand how it works. Then teachers can tell the student how it works, and yeah, then students understand. Oh, we are not just controller. We just you know. It's not providing, but like teachers just collecting the data for, I don't know, for example, for the safety purpose. Like, for example, like heart rate monitor, and the student sometimes may feel like they're controlled by the heart rate monitor. But like, if the teachers explain, oh, this is for your safety, right? If something happens, then I want to support you, right? I want to save your life, right?
Right, I totally
Yeah,
agree with you. Yeah,
yeah,
because teachers are authorities in the classroom and students listen to teachers.
yeah.
So it diminishes that feeling of fear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this is the final question for you. Could you share some tips or best practices that schools can use in crafting policies on student digital data privacy? But perhaps you could share some, existing best practices in your university or the schools in Japan that the schools in the Philippines and other countries could adapt as well.
Okay. Yeah, obviously, we use the like a consent form, like a specific consent form, which should be signed by parents or like users for the applications, blah blah blah. However, this policy or like agreement, like a documentation or like a document itself is uh, it's different school by school and also country by country, I'd imagine.
There are
And
also some ethical considerations as well.
yes, 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 exactly. And I, s- in Japan, there is a guideline for the data policy. So we just it's not a copy and paste, but like we just adjust that guideline for specific purposes for the schools and applications, et cetera, et cetera. And we explain to the teachers. We explain
Mm,
the data policy to teachers, parents, et cetera, et cetera, and they sign. And they you know, I let them understand like how data is controlled, collected, protected, uh, et cetera, et cetera. And that should also, I think, happens in Philippines and other
yeah,
countries. They should also have like a data policy guidelines, and they should the parents or tech providers, developers, schools, government, sometimes government also should review that guidelines together, right? And make sure everything's fine. So this should happen the start of the project, right?
that is correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say that's a tip. Yeah, look at the guidelines and make sure and review together at the beginning of the project.
Excellent. That's an excellent answer. Okay, so thank you to everyone for your thoughtful questions and engaging discussion. So before we proceed to our next segment, we would like to take this moment to recognize the invaluable contribution of our distinguished speaker, whose expertise and insights have truly enriched this international summit. At this juncture, we shall be presenting the Certificate of Appreciation as a symbol of our sincere gratitude. Okay, so I will now be reading the citation. Appreciation is proudly presented to uh, Takashi Fukushima in grateful recognition of his invaluable insights and expertise as a guest speaker during the 2026 UMak-CITE International Summit on Education with the theme, The Global Learning Renaissance, Harmonizing Technology, Equity, and Human-Centeredness, given this 28th day of March 2026 at the University of Makati, Philippines. Signed, Jason Bergania, EDD, Dean, College of Innovative Teacher Education. Ederson D.T. Tapia, DPA, PhD, Vice President for Academic Affairs. And Elixir C. Ramos, Tested, PhD, President, University of Makati. Again, may we request our speaker to kindly stay on screen as we present this recognition.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure is always ours. Assistant Professor Fukushima.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me such a great opportunity. This is my honor to present this topic to the audience here. And it's online this time, but like I hope to have this type, this kind of summit or like a conference in person, maybe next time. Actually,
Of course.
I was in Manila a couple days ago, and yeah, I love going to Philippines, and we always have a great collaboration and I personally have a really good time staying Philippines
Yeah.
always.
I'm
So
sure
yeah, next
everyone will
time,
be
yeah,
will be excited to see
yes,
you face to face in our future academic endeavors together with the University of Makati, of course. Thank you very much once again.
CITE, where
thank you
innovation
very
Okay.
meets
much. Appreciate it.
excellence. We lead, we
Okay,
learn,
so to
we
bring
rise
renewed
with
energy to our program, we now present another special performance from one of the outstanding groups of the University of Makati. Kindly stay connected as we once again welcome the UMak-CITE Dance Troupe. Thank you very much, Yumak Tunog Kawayan, for that mesmerizing performance. Again, a gentle reminder to our online participants, should you have any questions during the presentation, you may kindly type them in the chat box. Our distinguished speaker will be addressing your questions right after the talk during the open forum or Q&A session. We now proceed to our next session entitled The Borderless Campus, Reimagining Physical and Digital Learning Ecosystems. As we harmonize technology and human-centeredness, the where of learning becomes as important as the how. This theme explores the fusion of physical architecture and digital third spaces to create environments that foster community and creativity. It is my distinct honor to introduce our last resource speaker. She is an education supervisor too at the Commission on Higher Education Regional Office 1, where she leads research and evaluation initiatives to strengthen higher education programs in the region. She holds a PhD in language education from Benguet State University, a Master of Arts in Education, and a Bachelor of Arts in English from Pangasinan State University, anchoring her work in language education and instructional quality. Before joining the Commission on Higher Education, she served as Senior Education Program Specialist for Human Resource Development at the Schools Division Office of Dagupan City, designing and operationalizing strategic HRD systems and providing technical assistance to schools to build competent educational personnel. In her current role, she supervises regional research projects, develops evaluative criteria for instructional programs, and serves as a resource person in seminars, workshops, and in-service training on research and evaluation. She is president of the American English Alumni Association of the Philippines Incorporated and press relations officer of the Philippine Association for Language Teaching Incorporated, reflecting her active leadership in the English language teaching community. Known for her effective communication, project management, and critical thinking skills, she has contributed to policy-aligned evaluation, monitoring of higher education institution programs, and the production of educational literature such as bulletins, memoranda, and brochures. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in warmly welcoming Dr. Micheline Vigilia Rivo.
Hello everyone. Isang magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Please allow me to share my screen. Good morning. Okay, so can you see my slide now? And am I audible?
Yes, loud and clear, and we can see you and your screen as well.
Yes, so good morning to each and everyone, to UMak family, and to our participants from around the globe. So good morning. So it is a privilege for me to be here with you, fellow educators from around the world. So people who have dedicated their lives